Welcome to my Wreckfest Retrospective. I've played Wreckfest since it released on the PS4, and I've watched videos of it since it was next car game in 2011 or 12 or something like that, as early as I knew about it. I was excited ever since the very first video I saw on it back when it was just a tech demo, and to this day I'm still extremely excited about Wreckfest 2. It's why I certainly do not have a PC even remotely close to play it. All the videos I've seen of early access gameplay on PC look amazing, so now seems as good a time as any to do a retrospective on Wreckfest 1, because Wreckfest 2 is looking amazing, and I'm about as hyped really for Wreckfest 2 as I was for Wreckfest 1 back in the day. In terms of Wreckfest 1, which I'll just say Wreckfest from now on, I've only played it on PS4 and a little bit on Xbox Series S, so aka no mods, but I might mention a little bit here and there because I watched a whole heck of videos with it modded, although I don't really have first-hand experience with it. So mainly I'll just be talking about kind of the main game that most people know. And to begin with, I'll begin with of how I began with what is actually still on the channel. I did an initial review and special tape and things like that with it, as well as clips. And from how I remember, the very first clip I have of it was doing an early on career mode race of lawnmowers, and it glitching out to the point to where I literally couldn't even see the track. Yeah, frankly, Wreckfest didn't launch in the Danish States, which is even more iffy because it was in development for many years before that, so yeah, that wasn't best, but I mean, at the time, and arguably even more so now, that is, probably will be, a lot of games. You can't really fault it tons because a lot of other games launched at even worse stages than it. But yeah, frankly, at the beginning of when Wreckfest launched, I couldn't really progress all that much in the story for a few weeks, and even like a little bit over a month into the game, I did a video of how the online was glitchy to the point where if lag happened in a certain way, car could get stuck and you pretty much had to leave the lobby completely to do anything about that. So that kind of made me not feel like playing online too much. But eventually, all that got fixed, and even at the very beginning, the most important thing at Wreckfest was really caught pretty good. The Wreckfest. It did the Rex amazing. At the time, I'd already seen stuff with BeamNG Drive, and obviously I played a whole heck of it with Burnout. I would argue at the time, and even now, at least for Wreckfest 1, we'll see about 2 in the future, but at least for 1, of the extreme, crazy fast stuff, I'd say the Burnout games probably did it a bit better. And in terms of if you want to get into extreme realism, like tires popping or crash welding and things like that, BeamNG Drive does it a bit better, or just like the batshit crazy stuff, like the mods that to have rocket cars that could go 500 miles an hour, if you want to jump off a cliff and things like that. And yeah, that's BeamNG. But in terms of like the lower speed banger racing and demolition derby and that kind of thing, I'd say now, especially then, arguably now, it's still Wreckfest. At the time, I didn't have all that much first-hand experience to go into banger type racing in real life. I think I've saw like 2 in my entire life. I don't really live all that close to short track. And my parents were not really into that sort of stuff whatsoever. So most of the banger racing with me just watching Lootube videos or whatever it may be, but I'd seen pretty much countless demolition derbies. In the town I live in, there's the fair. Most places have a county fair, so most people know what that is. But then there's also Expo, which I guess the best way to explain that to people that don't have something like that is sort of just a redneck cheaper fair. And usually at an Expo there'd be a little demolition derby too. People would take like literal junkers and stuff and cars that barely run, or half of them break down even before you hit them. But still, it's better to watch that than nothing at all, and that was always fun too. I'd say in my lifetime I've been to, at least in real life, maybe 15 or so demolition derbies, so I had tons of experience watching that by the time Wreckfest came out. So in terms of actually doing a demolition derby realistic, Wreckfest did a great job too, because it had a lot of the banger cars, whether it's the stuff that seemed like could barely run, like those little 80s shitbox front wheel drives, or heavy muscle car type stuff, whatever it may be. It had all those too to make it realistic, and then it had insane stuff like a combine harvester. I've never seen any combine harvester competition type stuff in real life, whether that's racing or demolition derby or any of that kind of stuff. So that's insane. Kind of the most infamous one is probably the porta potty outhouse one. People have sort of kind of made that in real life, and there are sofa cars now in real life. Even in Lexington, Kentucky, where I went to college, I even saw that one in real life once when I was in college. This sofa car that's around Lexington, and it's even still this day popular on social media, so that's always a famous one. And even the insane stuff drove kind of how you figure it. Sofa car being long but narrow, so it kind of drove like that, so it drove kind of stubby and oversteery and stuff, because it was really wide, but just not having much room between like the front wheel and rear wheel, it was prone to be spinning out and things like that. Or like a combine harvester, it could actually maneuver pretty well in tight spaces with four-wheel steering, with big heavy thing, probably literally 20,000 pounds or something like that. So not so fast, not so good handling, but between the short speed maneuverability and a giant weight, still good in the demolition derby or something like that. And so that was nice too. In terms of what I knew more of like a demolition derby thing, Wreckfest could do both realistic and outright insane, but also the banger racing, once a few things got fixed by a month or so in, was great as well. There's plenty of clips of it online, whether it's doing a dirt oval or even like a 2-mile city road course, something about you seeing Gran Turismo or something like that, or probably more like Grid nowadays, but Gran Turismo like PS2 era, or maybe Grid, something like that. Nowadays, any and all of it, the course ride in Wreckfest was great. Is, however you want to word it, great as well. In terms of like the number of courses, I mean, it doesn't have as much as some games out there, but the variety is great too, and really don't need tons of like number of courses, because obviously, of course, it's not going to have anything copyrighted, so it's not that big a deal really, because every course would have like forward and reverse, and a lot of them have variations like figure eight or its own demolition version of it and things like that too. So, and then to sort of progress, not really in story mode, but later on things added like a challenge or seasonal event type thing. They would do little missions and challenges and stuff with the courses as well, like collect coins or go through an obstacle course or things like that too. So it made the best use of what it had, but it's for sure. And also what it had too was, again, sort of has to some extent. I don't have PlayStation Plus or Xbox Live, so I can't say tons, but at least from as far as I know, it's still actually competitive racing. For those that want to race clean, it does good enough. I mean, the online connections, some people are going to be iffy. That's just how online is, but it's as good as about any game out there. It's nothing terrible. And for those that want to race clean, it can be done. So then you can have sort of World Outlaw dirt racing, because it has that type of car, and then you can have road course racing, like I said, city course type things, a few of them in there, like Motor City Circuit, things like that, and even just weird obscure stuff where people can launch their buses off stuff. That's the infamous social media clip of Carmageddon map. They added and transformed it into racetrack. There's clips online of people doing cuts and stuff of buses where they launched their bus off a 10-story roof and launch it right into the crowd of people racing and like kamikaze take people out and stuff too. So any and all type of racing it did quite well as well. Up to kind of a speed point. Even the fastest car in the game was way more upgraded horsepower than the rest. The Bulldog, which was kind of an old 1940s style car, got an engine swap and it could go maybe 160 miles an hour ish. And that was the fastest car on the straightaway by far. And in terms of like track use, I think all in all, what ended up getting the most records was the equivalent of a tuned up 1980s Toyota MR2. So, up to an extent, maybe like the equivalent of Gran Turismo, that would be the equivalent of maybe 475, 500 performance points, something like that. I mean, you get some extreme stuff, unrealistic Gran Turismo, like screw with the penalty or performance point system. Kind of your balanced 475 PP to be a little bit slower. So maybe like the extreme 475 to somewhat balanced 500 performance point would be kind of the equivalent of what the top end Wreckfest was. So like I said, the crazy high speed stuff probably would be burnout. Like if you want to go 200 plus miles an hour or so. But in terms of actually making the racing better, the lower speed stuff is better. There's an old saying that might even kind of go with Wreckfest. For all I know, it was created with Wreckfest, the inverse law of fail race. I mean, as y'all know, I followed some of the stuff on my channel with fail race, like jelly cars, things like that. Probably on all fail race, the channel I've watched most and all of the internet videos through the years. Inverse law of fail race, where the slower the speed, the better the racing, because there's less fails in the race. There's less actual mistakes. So for people that are genuinely wanting to be dirty, or however you want to race, if you happen to want to race clean or whatever, when the cars are slower, there's less chance of mistakes and things like that. So you can calculate your hits better, or racing better, or however you want to go about doing it. So inverse law of fail race means the slower the car, really the better the racing. I mean, to some extent. I mean, there's clips on my channel like Gran Turismo racing at 0.1 or 0.0 run performance point Fiat 500 at top speed was like 60 miles an hour. That may be a little bit too slow, but you get what I'm saying. Even like the lowest class racing in Wreckfest still be fun on shorter tracks. If you got it something on a bigger oval, maybe not so much for the very lowest class. And maybe to some extent you could say to like the highest class, if you get a really twisty dirt thing with the highest class. Maybe not quite as fun, but still for the most part, like the 90% in the middle of one extreme to the other was quite balanced and quite fun and stuff. And of course, you'd always get some people online that try to exploit some stuff. Either people do everything they possibly can to find the best vehicle possible, but usually the best vehicle possible wouldn't have very much weight to it. So then you just wreck the holy snikes out of them. Even if they end up getting a big lead, the lap cars are never ghost or anything. So it felt like someone was really taking advantage of stuff or glitzing or whatever it may be. You just wreck the holy snikes out of them. That worked pretty big good. Yeah, I mean, there's plenty of videos online of someone, the leader, get the holy snikes wrecked out of them. Sometimes I do it. Sometimes I'd be one that got it, whatever it may be, and it would work out in all the ways. Eventually you'd have it go for and against you to the point of it's very much fun with that. Whatever class it is, you can always get someone trying to wreck the holy snikes out of the leader. That's pretty mature any game, really. But especially with Wreckfest, because no one really gets all that mad. It does seem like on PC there's hacking and exploits and things like that, but at least for PS4 and the bit I played on Xbox Series S, it's actually, in terms of online racing thing, it's as balanced as any of them. Not perfect, none of them are perfect, but if you want to actually balance racing, Wreckfest not a bad choice of it somehow. When Wreckfest says more balanced racing than like Gran Turismo, though, that's take that one as you may. But in my opinion, it is a truism right yonder. So, there's that. Also, in terms of the story, it's as you'd expect. You progress from having the slow, like C-Class Ford Mustang knockoff, and then you earn money, and you can use that to upgrade that car. You can buy other cars, and then through events, you unlock other specialty cars like a lawnmower, school bus, and things like that, and then you can use them in one makes, and occasionally they would work to run in actual just regular mixed type racing too. Sometimes you find some niches where you can actually use the school bus to be competitive or whatever it may be. Lawnmower or whatever. I mean, there's tons of infamous videos online of people trying to dodge stuff with a lawnmower, and sometimes it goes well, sometimes it doesn't. It's one of the things, honestly, that's kept Wreckfest fun too. Is just the internet clippability of it. Too is even if you don't have the game, there's still plenty of insane clips to watch online. And of course, as with any game, it's the majority of the time you ain't gonna get something insane like that. Just the ability to have that happen even occasionally, to my opinion, is worth getting at. I mean, of course, with something like BeamNG Drive, you can pretty much manufacture it. There's so many mods out there and stuff too. And even Wreckfest to some extent with PC and all that, you can manufacture it to be insane 100% of the time, but at least in my opinion, while having like 100% insanity all the time be fun for a bit, having the spontaneous stuff that you have no idea is going to happen occasionally usually is better than 100% insane all the time type thing. To each their own on it. There's really no downright right or wrong decision with that. I mean, there's a whole kind of internet genre of insane BeamNG Drive stuff that I think even a few clips have over 1 billion views. So, I mean, you can look at it however you may. And then obviously, Burnout is one of the most famous, arguably, game franchises out there. I mean, the Smiling Friends meme with Burnout. You smoke weed and play Burnout Revenge on the PS2. So, yeah, I mean, Wreckfest kind of has all the stuff going for it. It has internet fame. It has realistic, if you really want to go that route. It has insanity. It has nice variation of cars and tracks and all that. There's also decent customization, whether it's visual or parts. The parts can go into specifics, like specific parts your engine or specific things. If you want to go lighter, you can change the tires and things like that. To also visual stuff, you can change the bumpers or take them off and things like that. And even something like take the bumpers off has value within the game. Taking a bumper off makes it handle a little bit better because it's lighter, but then it can't take as many hits. So there's strategy to that. And then it has insane stuff too. Like you can add a literal shark to the top of your car, or baby carriage, or any and all kinds of crazy stuff too. So that's always cool to see as well. So much variety, everybody making their own thing, whether they want to go full try hard and make it as fast as possible, try and make a replica of certain stuff, or just have a random variety of insane stuff too. It's all nice combination. There's a bunch of crazy stuff you get. There's a pig car. It's literally this little car that's pig on top. Things like that are amazing. It's looking like Wreckfest 2 is going to do an even better job with the insanity as well, because it has an outright livery editor. They call it like Crap It or something like that, where you can do different dirt textures and things like that and make it on the livery as well. So that's a unique take on livery editor. It's looking like they're having 2 as well. So, I mean, in a way, you can kind of call original Wreckfest Jack of all trades, master of none. In terms of absolute insane deforming and stuff, it probably is still BeamNG. in terms like internet famous is Burnout. In terms of like maybe specific banger type racing, there is an SRX game, there is a World of Outlaws game, things like that. If you want to get specifically into that, but it's in my opinion, there's really nothing about Wreckfest, at least now that a lot of things have been fixed and added throughout the years, it's really anything worse than like a 6 out of 10. Like in terms of the story mode, it's very straightforward. It's exactly what you think it is. So give that like a 6 out of 10. It works for what it is, but it's not really super long or super complex. And I mean, all in all, I'd say the graphics in terms of pretty, like if you want to pause something with no damage or whatever and just take a picture of a car on a track, maybe the graphics in terms like that are 6 out of 10, but obviously the graphics can't be as good like in the default setting because usually the cars aren't in the default setting, they're wrecked. So of course a game with an enhanced damage model can't have as good like base graphics, so that makes sense. And all in all, I think I would give Wreckfest about a 8.5. I don't race online anymore, so it's hard to say. Between an 8 and 8.5 out of 10. I haven't really raced online in like 4 or 5 years, so it's hard to say the state of that. Meaning, it's up there with the best racing game in the PS4 generation. In my opinion, the three best are Drive Club, Wreckfest, and Project Cars 2 of what I have played. A lot of because I'm good at it. You know, I'd personally give it to Drive Club. Y'all have seen tons of videos of me on Drive Club. I mean, I don't know if this same audience watching a Wreckfest video is watching Drive Club video too. In terms of racing games out there, that neither of them are meant to be simulation. They're about as far apart as they get. But yeah, I give a slight edge to Drive Club. But if you want to say Wreckfest is the best racing game of the PS4 generation, I'm not going to say you're wrong. It very much could be. And that also goes with the caveat is I did not have an Xbox One. The only really truly PS4 generation, like where Horizon 5 had a PS4, or I mean a Xbox One port as well. But the only one that's surely to release during that generation and stay on it that I played was Forza Motorsport 7, and it was good. I did a review on that, and good game, but not quite there. I wouldn't be surprised if I would end up liking something like Forza Motorsport 2, or I mean Forza Horizon 2 or 3, or Forza Motorsport 5 or 6. Better, I wouldn't be that surprised really, but for what specifically I have played, yeah, Wreckfest is really good. Oh no, Wreckfest is definitely one of those games that it harkens back to the past because a lot of games have done sort of wrecking crazy stuff like that before. I mean, really, there is a lot. There's probably too many to mention over the years. I mean, there's stuff from PS1 if you want to watch clips of it to even like what Flat Out 3, I think was like the terrible one that maybe came out like a year or two before Wreckfest and like killed the franchise or whatever. So when you can go from something indie game like on the PS1, I can't even really think of the title of, but you may know what I'm talking about if you played Wreckfest and watched stuff online, to a pretty big franchise like Flat Out that died because of a failure of things like that. I mean, yeah, obviously Wreckfest has some ties to the past, so some people could say Wreckfest is just copying it, but I think it does its own cool spin on it because of, like, again, individual unique things like a combine harvester or something that are, in my opinion, the best in the class of that type of racing game, like the Banger Racing or Demolition Derby and things like that, the slower speed stuff. And it ended up adding some things later, like even what you saw in the very first tech demo of like destructible buildings and things like that. They eventually added just a whole crash zone, in which was kind of an updated version of the tech demo that had the modern graphics and stuff and wasn't just like a white background or whatever. One thing that I really wish Wreckfest ended up adding was the object launcher. Even in the tech demo, you could launch like balls and missiles and stuff like that. I really wish they would have added that, but maybe just the PS4 itself couldn't handle it or something. But that really would have been a cool next generation upgrade. Like Xbox Series S, which I have to do something like missiles or what. They have missiles like on the ground, like in that crash zone. I think it has a specific name, but essentially it's just the playground one they added later. Missiles on the ground you can hit and they launch as some clips of that, and then some individual missions like in the seasonal event type things will occasionally have missiles and things like that. But yeah, my one of my favorite internet videos is, you take it as you may, I don't remember the name of it, but it's like 12 or 13 years old. Is NerdCube's first playthrough of, back then it was Next Car Game in like 2012 or something, and his style doing videos I really like. It's hard to really explain in a short amount of time. If you know, you know. He's pretty one of a kind with that, and then mixed with the insanity, like firing missiles and stuff at the other cars, or the damage models and things like that. Yeah, that's like one of my favorite internet videos ever. So the point I'm making is, even from like 2012, I got tons of enjoyment out of Wreckfest, even just watching it. So when one game can get, at this point, 14-ish, probably not quite, but at least 13 years of enjoyment out of, that's amazing. And it still seems like it has a great feature in terms of 2 and whatever onward it may be, even people doing mods for the original 1 or whatever. It seems like Wreckfest as a series has a very much great future. I will admit, it'll probably be a while before I play Wreckfest 2, because at least at the time of recording this video, there isn't a release date for consoles. I don't think there's a release date for PC, but that's irrelevant to me because I definitely don't have a PC that can run it. And even if I do, that doesn't even necessarily mean I would get it released, because 1, economy, and 2, like I said, with the whole thing is, the next gen console I have is the Xbox Series S, and I don't know if there's going to be next gen after this gen, meaning like an Xbox equivalent of the PS6, so I really don't want to outright buy Xbox game if it ain't going to transfer to the next generation, because the Xbox next generation might not exist. So I really have to think of things like that too. But I mean, I'll put it like this: if I had the money and Xbox had a more sure footing and things like that, Wreckfest 2 would definitely be one of, if not the first game I would consider getting. So yeah, I mean, all things considered, Wreckfest is maybe in my top 5 of racing game ever. I really have to think that too. It's definitely top 10 for racing game ever, and I played a whole heck of a heap of racing games, so take that as you may. And it's top 3 of PS4 racing games. It's way better than GT Sport. That's for sure. GT7 I could kind of consider more PS5 than 4, but I've only played it on 4. Again, I'd personally put Drive Club a little bit higher. A lot of that's just because I'm better at it, and if you watch my Drive Club videos, you kind of know. But yeah, that's still in great territory to be, especially given that I wouldn't exactly say it's outright AAA either. I mean, THQ is a studio that a lot of people's heard of. I mean, for kids, doing the SpongeBob games in terms of long-running series, something like MX versus ATV. I mean, THQ, I don't know if I'd outright call it household name, but it's a well-known company. But still, an Wreckfest really counts an outright AAA game too. So with it being right up there with the other AAA games, in terms of quality and player count and all the things considered, that's still really picking good achievement with that. And I'd say Wreckfest is probably one of those games that honestly it's worth showing more than telling. And now that I've been telling for this long, really about all I can say, more than just go out there and watch it and play it and all that sort of things, it's more of a visual thing than listen, is yeehaw!